welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're doing well. Welcome to another video and welcome back to the end of the year book tag. If I can find the original creator of this book tag, I will put it in the description box below, but I have seen several other creators do this particular video and I figured it would be fun for me to do it as well. A quick and easy video just to share with you some of my plans for the end of the year. So there are a total of 10 questions, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So question number 1 is a new release that you have to get to before the end of the year. And for me, I'm going to choose Kings of Wrath by Anna Huang. This is the first book in a new series that she is starting to publish. I believe the book just came out in the middle of October and I missed the release, so I definitely need to get myself a copy. But I've heard such good things and such good early reviews of this book that I absolutely need to pick it up. I really enjoyed the first book in the Twisted series so far, and so I have faith that this next book is going to be really good. I actually don't have any idea about what it's about, but I like the author, I've liked her work in the past, I'm really excited to give it a go, and it just sounds like it's going to be dark and gritty, but also really, really good. So hopefully I can get to it before the end of the year and love it. Question number 2 is a book that you want to reread. Now this is an entire series for me. I would want to reread the entire series. I have done this for this author's previous series, and I have had a blast doing it, so it's definitely one that is high on my priority list, and that is none other than the Hades series by Tate James. You guys all know that I am constantly recommending this author and her series. I have read now 3 full-length series from her, and actually 4 full-length series from her, and loved every single one of them. So I would love to do a reread of this one. Since I've already reread the Madison Kate series, it's time for the Hades series. Hades is another Why Choose romance with 4 books and 3 men, 1 girl, and it's so good. It's dark, it's twisted, lots of trigger warnings, so make sure that you go in with a little bit of caution, but honestly, she just writes such fun Why Choose romances that are hot, sexy, and have the worst cliffhangers. So definitely a series that I need to reread very soon. Question number 3 is a book series that you want to continue, and for that I'm choosing the Harris Brothers series by Amy Dawes. I have read books 4 and 5 in this series, not knowing they were part of a series, and I would love to go back and read book 1. I don't actually remember which book is book 1, but I will put it up on the screen here in case you were interested, but I absolutely love Amy Dawes' writing. I have read 1 other book by her in a different series, and I really liked that one as well, so hopefully I will love the rest of the books in the Harris Brothers series. You do meet them in this book, and I am very curious to see how their relationships come together, so hopefully I can get to that one soon and finish it up. Question number 4 is a book that you would like to buddy read. And honestly, any adult fantasy would have worked for this because adult fantasies are ones that I almost never pick up and almost always need the extra motivation to actually read. So I'm going to put a book that I have tried many a time to read and have had on many a TBR and still haven't picked it back up, and that is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I know my friend Sharon has talked about buddy reading this with me several times, but we just never quite figured out a good time to get it done and or follow through with it, so I really need to reach out to her and say, hey girl, you want to buddy read this with me? I know Karina has also mentioned it, and so has Clint, so definitely one that I do need to read, and one that I really enjoyed when I started reading it. I had such a good time with the world and the magic system and the characters. I just never picked it back up. I think I got 100 pages in, and I need to work on it. Somebody help me, and if you want to buddy read this with me, let me know. All right, question number 5 is a book that you want to read in a category or age group that you don't usually read from. And for that, I'm choosing Us Against You by Frederick Bachman. I don't usually read a ton of adult contemporary books. It's just not my general taste. In my everyday reading life, I tend to skew more towards romances than anything else, but I have read book 1 in this series and I really enjoyed it, and book 3 just came out, so I would really love to get to this one and finish out the series. This one is a very hard-hitting book. It does follow a town filled with very close-knit hockey players that love the game and is actually very integral for their community. But when one of the star players gets accused of sexual assault, things kind of go in a very downward spiral for this particular town. And the first book was very hard to read, very angering, but it was really good, and I definitely want to see where Frederick Bachman takes the rest of the series. Then we have a book that was on a previous TBR, and there are plenty of these to choose from for me, but I chose Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas. I had this and Tower of Dawn as a tandem read on a previous TBR and just didn't get around to finishing it, not because I wasn't enjoying it, but just because I am severely outside of my fantasy era, and I'm not really reading a ton of fantasy, whether that be YA or adult, so I just wasn't in the mood for this, and I have yet to pick it back up. And I just feel ashamed for the fact that I obviously love Sarah J Maas so much. I own way too many of her books, and yet I haven't finished the series yet. So it needs to happen. It needs to get done. I love this series so much, and I think I'm honestly just a little terrified for it to end. Number 7 is a book that you have recently purchased or acquired, and for that I chose Lore Olympus Volume 3. I just picked this one up the other day, and I absolutely needed it in my collection. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I have the rest of these books in that particular edition, so I know I needed a copy for myself. I didn't love Volume 2, but I really like the series as a whole. I think that it is really cute and really well done. I love the art style in here, so definitely a book that I would like to read very soon, and get around to finishing up what's currently published. I could just read it on Webtoons, but I find reading the physical books a lot more fun, so hopefully I can get around to book 3 and possibly love it more than book 2. Question number 8 is a book that's on your physical TBR, and for that I chose It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. Before I get into why I picked this, did anyone else get the Waterstones exclusive edition, but it only came on one side? I want to know if this is a mistake or if it was supposed to look like that, because if it was a mistake, I want another copy. But if they did choose to do this, I'm confused. Anyways, I chose It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. This is obviously the prequel slash sequel. I don't really know. Is it a prequel or a sequel? I think it's the sequel to It Ends With Us, by Colleen Hoover, one of my favorite Colleen Hoover books of all time. I love that book. It brought me to tears. It still makes me very emotional when I think about it, and I'm very excited to see what happens between Lily and Atlas. I believe those are the character names. It's been a long time since I've read It Ends With Us. I'll have to do a reread before I pick up this one, but definitely one that is high on my priority list for the end of the year. Hopefully I can get to it. I've heard really good reviews from so many people about this book so far, so I am expecting great things. Question number 9 is a hyped book that you want to read, and for this I chose Legends and Lattes by, I actually don't know the author of this book. I will leave it on the screen, but I heard really good things about this particular fantasy. It's a cozy adult fantasy, high fantasy with very low stakes, and that is honestly something that I could get behind. I feel like we should have more adult fantasy, high fantasy books like that are just easier to want to pick up than the crazy 1,000-page high epic fantasy with all these fight scenes. I don't know about you, but that just sounds like a lot. So this is definitely one that has been high on my priority list, and I've heard nothing but good things about this. I also believe that Fairy Loot is doing an exclusive edition of this, so I would love to read it before the exclusive edition drops so I can figure out if I want to buy it. And finally, question number 10 is a book that you have previously DNF'd. Now, I don't know why I'm putting this on this list, because the likelihood of me getting back to this book anytime soon is pretty low, but in case I have freaking high hopes and I'm shooting for the stars, I figured I would mention The Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. I did start this book and I got about halfway through and I was really enjoying it, but put it down because it was time for another TBR. I just didn't have a chance to pick it back up, and now it has been probably over a year since I have picked that book up, and I definitely need to get back to this. This is my very stunning special edition copy. I believe it's just a Barnes & Noble special edition or just a special edition. I'm not sure, but I do have a paperback copy of this as well that I will probably end up reading before I read this one with the beautiful sprayed edges. But it's definitely one that I definitely would like to get back to. I just haven't had the motivation to pick up a chunky sci-fi, adult sci-fi at that. Okay, and the last and final question is, who do you want to tag? I'm not going to tag anyone in particular, but I tag anybody that wants to do this quick little video. It's fun to make plans for the end of the year and see how many you can actually accomplish by that time. We'll see. With baby coming, I doubt I'm going to be able to get to all of these, but we like a good long list to pick from. But that is the end of this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give it a big O thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And of course, leave any comments, questions, and suggestions in the comment section below. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Baby, turn it down like a sweet and ready. Go slow, keep it nice and steady.